your slides. Um, okay, so 529 in California, we in California can put $529,000 into a an an education plan 529.
Hmm.
Okay. So my question is, how many people think they can spend $529,000 into a student education plan?
Great question, Meg. The thing that we need to keep in mind, the odds of a singular person putting $529,000 into a 529 plan, you
Mhm.
have to be in a certain um, income bracket, if you will, and making quite a bit of money.
Right.
Now, who can contribute to a 529 plan? It could be the parents, it could be a brother or sister, it could be an aunt or uncle. There's very little restriction on who can contribute. Now,
Okay.
you're able to contribute $19,000 a year per contributor per year,
Yes.
up to that max.
Right.
So, even at $19,000 a year, there are families out there that can't necessarily swing that. So that 529,000 can be from age 0 to age 18. So it can be spread out over a number of years with a number of contributors. Now, how does it work? For the most part, it's after tax money going in. The money grows tax deferred, and I can use it for qualified educational expense. Now, up until a few years ago, we were predominantly talking about college. Now it could be private school, it could be trade school, it could be middle school. Now we have books, we have tuition. In some cases, it could be travel expense, a new computer, software for the class. Um, Even if I want to travel abroad, I can use it for that. So it's pretty flexible in what it is that I can do.
Okay. That sounds pretty good. So, and the question is, uh, how much can I get for student loans? How do I get penalized on a 529?
So the thing about a 529 plan is it's an includable asset, right? My
Okay.
stocks, my bonds, my mutual funds, my 529 plan, my UGMA account, my UTMA account, these are all what we call includable assets. So the organization, FAFSA, which is responsible for the student loans, it's a government organization, they're going to look at certain things. They're going to look at a parent's income and assets. And this kind of blew my mind when I found this out. They're going to look at a kid's income and assets.
Okay.
So now a 529 plan, you would think because a child under the age of 18 can't own it, you would think that this would be an asset of the parents, but because the child is the beneficiary, it's considered an asset of the child.
Okay. Okay, that works. Um, so, okay.
Let's
I,
talk about flexibility.
okay.
What happens if my child disappoints me and decides they don't want to go to college? Am I stuck with this asset that if I take the money out for something other than a non-qualified educational expense, I'm going to get hit with a 10% penalty on top of having to pay the taxes on the gains? Or is it possible that I can transfer that asset to somebody else in the family dynamic? My another child, me, my spouse, even grandparents, if they decide that they want to go back to school, now I can transfer that asset out of my child's name and into the other family member's name.
Okay. Can I ask a question?
Of
I want
course.
to know, can I only have one child, so can I give him the money so he can buy a house?
So, this is a great question. The answer to that directly is no. If my child decides that they are not going to go to college and I have nobody else to give the money to, there is a way that I can transfer a portion of the money over into a retirement account. So
Okay.
I could transfer that money into a Roth IRA. The max contribution to be able to do that is $35,000. That will be spread over time. The reason why I say that is because I am limited to the max annual contribution, which is $7,000 a year that I can put into my Roth. If I'm over the age of 50, then I can put an extra $1,000 a year into it.
Okay.
So if I'm under the age of 50, we'll just go with that assumption, then if I can do it over 5 years, assuming that I'm not making any other contribution into my Roth. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, if I was already contributing $2,000 a year, then I'd only be able to roll 5,000 out of my 529 plan into the Roth IRA. Now, keep in mind, there is another restriction to this. In order to be able to qualify to do this, the 529 plan has to have been in place for 15 years or longer at the time that they decide to not, at the time they decide not to go and there's nowhere else to use that